welcome again to episode number 3 in our Rapid Influence System mini-series. Coach Phill here at Intelligent Performance International, where we help entrepreneurs, leaders, and CEOs to realign their teams, realign their organizations so that they can make a bigger impact, make more money, and have better results in the workplace. Today I want to speak with you about something that is so important yet so ignored, especially by organizations and leaders who have been caught up in the old way of doing things, where they've been successful for a while, and then competition goes through the roof, and then there's market opening up, and then all of a sudden they're not doing as well. And one of the things that I realized, apart from having great leadership, having a great product, having great customer service, consistently innovating, one of those important pillars I want to talk to you today about is the pillar of organization high performance culture. Culture is one of the things that actually determines whether a company stays long-term or is a short-term organization. A company that has long-term sustainable success or sustaining success usually has a great culture, usually has a culture that guides it. It is one of those things that when you find an organization that has gotten the culture right, it doesn't matter who is in charge. It doesn't matter what is happening out in the competition. They will always be successful. And it amazes me how little, especially old school leaders, most of the old school leaders, they don't understand or appreciate the importance of culture. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing high performance for organizations for a very long time. And in the last 5-6 years, most of the success we've had is when we go in and we help organizations to begin to craft a new culture, a culture of high performance. Now, usually when you tell people, hey, you got to work, we do cultural change and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, we've had that before. What is culture change? You just want to make people happy and buy them, make sure they have snacks and I said, no. Actually, culture is not happiness. Culture is not having snacks. Culture is not having a canteen. Culture is more than that. Culture is a set of behaviors and ideas and values that define how things are done here. How do we get things done here? What value system, what behaviors do we have? If you go a little bit deeper, especially when we do rapid influence system and we implement it in your organization, one of the things we'll say is, hey, you got to start telling a story. Your culture is a story that develops over time. And it is a story that is told and narrated by the leadership, is lived by the entire team, and is shared by everybody else. That is what culture is about. It has the elements of engagement as one of its pillars, growth as another pillar, communication, and underlining all that is ultimate results. So culture, having a great culture, implementing a culture change program, it has got to be that, hey, you've got to create something that consistently produces results. End of story. Every time there are amalgamations or takeovers or, one company buys out the other, they struggle quite a bit because of the two cultures coming together and they clash. Why? They cannot fit in properly, or they don't have an expert who can come and help them to begin to rewrite the story and come up with a better winning culture. That is where we really excel, to help companies to say, hey, where you are now, what kind of culture do we want? What kind of behaviors, values, and ideas are we going to come up with so that we propel this organization to another level? So, usually, the first thing that I do when I go to an organization is you just walk in and you do, what we call a dipstick. You just go in and just walk around, say, call them up. How are you received at reception? How do if you have a complaint, how do the customer complaints team respond? How do you, when you walk through the corridors, what is the place like? What is the mood? How are people? Do they say hello to you? Do they not say hello to you? When you have a rejection or when you have a problem with the product, how do they respond? How do they react? All those things help you to get to know, okay, this is the kind of culture. But it's very easy. It's very easy. I just got to spend an hour in a place and I'll get to know how this organization works. Most importantly, I will know how well they're doing or how badly they're doing, simply because you get to understand the culture. So in this video, I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, 5 secrets, just 5 secrets for you to begin. You as a leader, you as a human resource manager, you as a business owner. By the way, business owners are people who really excite me, because I totally believe that through entrepreneurship and great leadership, we can change the world. Through economics, we can change the world. So there are 5 secrets that I want to share with you in this video that you can go and start thinking, okay, how can I get this into my organization? Remember, rapid influence system is about getting your organization to make those leaps, to make those astronomical leaps in terms of how quickly you can get to that level of performance that is sustainable, but you have a great team that is enjoying that, and the competition becomes irrelevant, okay? And every time I say that, there's a little bit of, oh yeah, hey, guess what? What is the point of being in business if you're not going to make them irrelevant? That is what I totally believe. So the 5 secrets to you beginning to create that story that will develop, that will say how you do things in that organization. The first thing that I've found that really works is the leadership team must initiate a great way to communicate across the organization. It is not something that you go and write. It is not written in any human resource book, but there's got to be an open way of communicating across the organization. Listen openly to your people, because they know so much. They know so much about the organization. They know so much about what is out there that they'll help you to begin to create that culture. When you go into an organization where there's free communication from top to bottom, where people feel free to bring their ideas, something magical happens. All of a sudden, this organization grows bigger than the owner, bigger than the initial vision. Why? Because people are contributing. People are bringing in information. And if you maintain that culture, it is inevitable you begin to create a high-performing, engaged team which knows, you know what, these guys listen to us, we're beginning to create some trust. Boom, it goes to the next level. When anybody walks into the organization, immediately they can feel that openness. They can feel that trust. Comfort immediately. Before you know it, performance. So that's the number 1 thing. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, you must foster personal and professional development. It's not a human resource duty. No. It is one of those where from the leadership all the way down, everybody knows that in this organization, when you join, 2 things must happen. You must grow professionally. You must grow on a personal development. Every organization where we've introduced, where people are going out for the professional courses, but they also, create an intranet where they have information to pick up on, how to become a better this or a better that, and beginning to work on their mindset and putting in some good stuff. That kind of culture propels an organization at a speed that you can't believe. All of a sudden you see that things are beginning to happen, and it creates this vibe of growth, and this vibe of hey, things are getting better, people are feeling better, people are growing. Before you know it, it is the way we do things here. When the young apprentices come in, or the young graduate managers, when they come in, they come and find this environment that is so fertile for growth. That is the kind of culture that creates organizations that last forever. It doesn't matter who comes in as a CEO. No, anybody who takes over finds that culture. I mean, why do companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and IBM and all these companies across the world, why is it that when the CEO changes, nothing much changes? They still are competitive. They still attract great talent. They still grow. It's because of the initial culture that has been created, which fosters that kind of environment. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, create traditions which are grounded in values. Create traditions within the organization that are driven by the values of the organization. Great organizations with great culture come up with 2, 3 fantastic values. And those are the values that are used to create a culture. There's I got to pick this from my table. Just hang on one second. There's a great quote that I need to quote for you from a gentleman who used to be the assistant at Goldman Sachs. Just one second. I was reading it this morning. Yes. So Mr. Greg Smith resigning from Goldman Sachs. I quote. This came out from a New York Times OPD article. Resigning from Goldman Sachs, Vice President Greg Smith wrote in the New York Times. This is what he says. He says, culture was always a vital part of Goldman Sachs' success. Okay? It evolved around teamwork, integrity, a spirit of humility, the values. Okay? And always doing right by our clients. The culture was the secret source. Okay? This is to illustrate the third point, but also to illustrate that, hey, it is as important as anything else for success for an organization. Okay? The culture was a secret source that made this place great and allowed us to earn our clients' trust for 143 years, he adds. And he says, I quote, I am sad to say that I look around today and see virtually no trace of the culture that made me love working for this firm for these very many years. Greg Smith used to be the assistant at Goldman Sachs. What does that say? You create traditions within the organization that are based on your values. You create situations where, you celebrate the journey. You celebrate winners. You also celebrate when you don't do too well, but you learn, you celebrate the lessons. You learn, okay, this is what you're going to do. Create traditions grounded in values which, where there's been great integrity. If one of your values is integrity, you celebrate that. There's an organization that I know that has got a great culture where the person, one of their values is growing others. So when a person is awarded as the employee of the month, they then have got to get that reward and give it to the person who supported them the most. Think about that. They've been presented by it, but they've got to find it and give it to the person that supported them the most. It is a culture thing. It has been there for years. What does that do? It fosters it grows the feeling of, hey, when you support people, guess what? Together we can go to the next level. So that's that. Next one, be innovative and creative as a community. Be innovative and creative as a community. You want to create a great culture? Let the innovation and creativity be a community thing. It's not just one department. No, let every department come with some innovation and creativity. How many departments do we have at Google? How many kitchens do we have at the Google headquarters? Each restaurant has got to come up with what? An innovative way of doing things. Let marketing come up with innovation. Let everybody, let it be that it is a community thing. We innovate as a community. Then that culture percolates all the way through. Before you know it, this is the way we do things here. That guarantees a great future. That guarantees it doesn't matter who comes in as a leader. Yes, there are leaders who can come in and attempt to disrupt the culture, but if it is so strong, they find that they have to fall in line, and they just bring their own source to make sure that it fuels that culture to go to the next level. And then finally, one of the greatest ways you can start tomorrow, even today, to create a great high-performance culture is for you to mentor and coach like a superstar. Let it be that everyone in the organization understands that you cannot go to the next level unless you've mentored and coached 2 other people. Hello? 2. No, 1, this is not about succession planning. This is about ensuring that you are producing champions in every part of the department. Everywhere champions are being produced, then you have an organization with a culture of producing the best of the best. It is one of those things where you challenge a company and say, hey, if we got rid of the entire senior management, how well would you survive? If that is possible, where the top management can all resign and go, and the company remains steady, that is great culture. That is what we call high performance culture. So in your business, I want to challenge you and ask you, with those 5 points that I've just given you, where are you at? Do you listen openly to your people? Have you opened those communication where the leadership initiates the open communication? Number 2, do you foster personal and professional development? It is not a luxury, it is part of where we do things here. Number 3, do you create traditions that are grounded by your values? Number 4, are you doing innovation and creativity as a community? It is not just one research and development department. No, it's a community thing. Everyone is encouraged. The prize goes to everybody. And then finally, are you coaching and are you encouraging world-class mentoring and coach? You know, when you find a world-class coach, when he's coaching a world-class player, he coaches with a different mindset. He coaches with a different attitude because he's dealing with a world-class champion. That is the kind of training and coaching, that is the kind of coaching and mentoring that you need to introduce into your organization. Then everybody becomes a mentor and a coach. Then the culture becomes that, hey, when you come here, one of the only ways you can develop is if you are mentoring and coaching for world class. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. You have an opportunity to go back and make your organization a world-class, high-performance culture organization by just starting with those. Of course, we can go deeper. Of course, there's always an opportunity to get deeper. You can always give us a call where we can come and talk to you about Rapid Influence System. This is a system which helps your organization to holistically begin to move in the direction that you've always wanted it to be as a vision bearer, but also to make those quantum leaps. And you know, we've been lucky enough that in the past 10 years, we've doubled and or tripled the profit of many organizations, simply because we understand things like culture. We understand the holistic approach. You know, when we come in, usually, somebody will call you and say, hey, we need a team building. And actually, the problem is not team building. The problem is that they have a leadership problem, or they have a culture problem, or they have a forming and storming problem. And our job is to give you what you want and make sure you also get what you need for you to be successful. So whatever you do this week, be strong, live with passion. Most importantly, have the audacity to do whatever it takes to live life on your terms. Thank you.